Hello and welcome to the Flory Models Friday catch-up show. Here we are with you on the 13th of September 2024. Really good week this week. As you know, for the last couple of weeks I've been really pushing on to get both of these finished, and I'm happy to report both are, as you would have seen this week. So really nice to get the actual Corsair done. It was obviously part of the group build we've done for classic builds, so basically anything over sort of 30 years old. It is a 30-year-old plus kit now, 31 years old to be precise. And it is an absolute amazing. This is the one. I've had lots of people asking about the markings and all the rest of it for it. It's literally simply straight out of the box markings. So again, it's one of those for the Marauders, VA82, I do believe. And is it 82? Yes, 82. So yeah, it is just that classic Hasegawa golden era kit. Goes together, no problems whatsoever. Which is that good yin and yang thing to this little lump, which doesn't go together very well. It's a very, very expensive kit. It's actually really difficult to sort of work with and get your head around it because the instructions are a little bit nah and everything else. But again, turned out something really, really nice. So it's nice working with these two together because at those sticky moments you get, and like you're like, oh, you know, this is getting to be a bit tedious. You can turn your attention onto something that is really, really straightforward and very, very nice. But again, once you're happy with it, you can move back onto this one, so forth and so on. And we've been talking about these ones a lot this week, but it's really nice to get this one out of the way. So this one's actually finished, all done. The final part went up with you on Monday. All right, for members, you can see this one. So it's a 7-parter in total, this particular video build. And again, I've been playing with different techniques and different ways of doing things. So the first one up was obviously we used acrylic pens. Been using them a lot, the AK markers, the display ones and things like that. So, but went back to using oils, good old-fashioned oils around the gear and everything like that. So we're getting it all sorted and put together. We was getting the gear all onto it, getting the gear fitted into it and weathered and all looking nice. We've got that front bay all sorted out and done. We've got the other side done, as you can see, and then looking very, very good all the way through. Then in case it was to do the sort of seals, we got that seal thing around this sort of era of aircraft, and for this one, and it's actually not a bad color, it's just using plain Tamiya tape. So we use the display cutting board, all right, for this one, 0.4mm thick strips right the way round the actual front cockpit areas and around the main canopy itself. And again, if you're worried about them peeling or lifting over time, it shouldn't do. If it's good quality Tamiya tape, you'll be fine. But if you do, if you just put a tiny, tiny little bit of like gloss over them, and then it'll track along them and it'll just seal them in. It won't fog all your parts and everything else, but it will hold the actual decal or the actual, in this case, Tamiya tape down in position, no problem at all. So anyway, with that in, we went around doing all the other bits. So we've got all the doors onto it. We've got the boarding ladder, the steps, all the little bits and pieces right over this one. I wasn't originally going to put fuel tanks on it and that, but they look really nice with the actual blue stripes. So we decided, right, we're going to do that as well. So as you can see, we've got it armed up with the sidewinders. Again, to be honest, we use pens to do the sidewinders because it's just so easy. And we use pens to do all the gear as well. So very, very nice with that. Then we're fitting the old pitot tubes onto the front, getting those in. The lights are all installed onto it. And you can see right the way through. To give it a little bit of an extra dimension, we added removable flight tags. So we're thinking that this is land-based at the moment. It's got a few removable light tags on it as well. And then obviously just going around and touching up some little bits right the way through. And with that, that gave us our completed build, as you can see just down on here. So again, looking very, very nice. You can go off and see these in high-res photos and all the other stuff if you want. But again, looking very, very nice. Happy how it turned out. And again, for a kit that I've built, well, I don't know how many of these I've built now. Lots, probably over 20. Maybe 25 of these I've built over the years. It's just a really nice kit. It's well-rounded. It just goes together very well. And it just gives you no real problems at all. And that's what's nice about the actual Hasegawa golden era kit, shall we say. So we're talking Phantoms, Hornets, the Drakens, the Starfighters of this world, and obviously things like the Skyhawk and the Crusader. Again, really, really nice kits. Just go together very, very well right the way through. So again, if you want to go off and see that one and all the other pictures, they all are up down on here. You can go off and you can have a look at that one right now. But anyway, that is my entry into the classic kit build. You know you're getting old when you remember it from new, and now it's in a classic kit build. All right, Tuesday, so we had the vlog. Obviously this week I was working a lot on the actual well, trying to get the Halifax all finished and everything else like that. Clearly Corsair is all done. But so anyway, we were going through the motions about that. We were looking about it. At this point, I just unmasked it and all the rest of it. So that was all looking pretty good. And I just literally mocked it up at this point just to see how it's going to look and all the bits that go with it. But again, really, really enjoying that particular build. We were talking about that right the way through and how we're tackling some of the problems with that particular one. Then obviously on, as you can see, a big weathering difference. On Wednesday, we were going through the weathering of this particular one, and we were talking about having to scratch build some of the details because the kit ones are just awful or non-existent in this case. So we need to do the aerial. We were using bits of brass rod with it, and we were talking about that. We were talking about obviously doing bombs. So again, out come the marker pens. I tell you, if you haven't got any, seriously, I know they've got a new set coming out at the moment, which is like orcs and stuff, but some really nice colours in there, and it's got a grey, because clearly this set doesn't have a grey, which it needs. Anyway, using thin Tamiya tape, so I think this is 0.5mm Tamiya tape that I cut, we painted it yellow, and then literally you can just come along, and I got some 3D printed bombs, because again, the bombs for this kit are just awful, so I decided to download, and they're only, I think they're £3 for the actual bombs themselves, so we had those. And then obviously we just added the banding on, and then we gave them a dry brush and a little bit of detail painting as well on there. So again, as you can see, we just put the band on, and then obviously because it's nice thin Tamiya tape, it conforms beautifully. And again, if you're worried about it coming off over time and stuff like that, it's really straightforward. You can just add a tiny little bit of gloss to it and things like that. But again, it's quite nice because it will conform onto a nice curved surface when it's thin. All right, and then literally that is it. Quick pinch, or you could cut, but I tend to pinch it and then squeeze it down, and then just nudge, making sure it's all level, and away you go. You've got your ring round on a bomb, so it saves having to mask it up and do it and all things like that as well. So again, you could do different sizes and thicknesses as you like. So that was all the weapons taken care and ready for that particular one all the way through. And then again, the guns. To be honest, I didn't have any guns for this in this kit. It didn't have any. So what I did was I downloaded a file, printed off some 3D 303 barrels, well, the entire guns, nicked the barrels off of them, and then obviously we could paint and put them into good use as well right the way through. So yeah, so that's what we were talking about on that particular vlog all the way through. Really, it's the final stages. And as you can see, we went into the weathering down in there as well. So you can see all about that one. That is available to watch right now for members. Last night, it was me and Matt. Again, a bit of a catch up for us because we haven't done the show for a couple of months, and I was talking, this is where I'm showing everything that's wrong with this particular kit. I don't know why it's in such a slow format. Let's try and put it in HD. There we go. So yeah, so if you want to catch up with this one, it is free to watch. Anyone can watch it. And then obviously we're discussing all different things about kits, classic kits, bad kits, very expensive kits, and all the ones in between. Matt was also showing us how he's been getting on with some of his. So as you can see, some of the issues and fit problems he's got with his build as well for his Bondi Miniatures kit. So he's doing one at the moment as well. So again, lots of different things down in there to talk about and go through. And then obviously we're discussing your bits and pieces as well. The usual things down on this. So again, if you want to catch up with that one, you can do it. It's free to watch. It's obviously on social media. It's on the YouTube page. And obviously you can watch it straight away on the Flory Models site as well. Last up today, we've got part 14. Okay, so part 14 really goes into town with all the weathering on this particular one. As you might know, in the previous parts, we got the actual wash on there. I have got some problems. We were talking about them on here, like I've got some cracking and some distortion, and it's beginning to tear down in the decals. So brilliant. We were talking about obviously doing the masking work and how to paint up obviously the gun ports and the tail one down in there like that. Then the momentous point. Physically going around and unmasking the entire model, which again, if you're like me, and this one's been a bit of a slow burner, this is the bit where the heart's in the mouth because you're not sure what's underneath. It could be full of overspray, it could have a load of dust and debris in there from when you've been sanding. You're never quite sure until you unmask it all. And I'm happy to report it was actually not too bad. All right, so say by the time we got all of those off, that framing work that we put on internally looked all pretty darn good and all the bits like that. Then we went around and we've done the actual prop work. So we were using pens and pencils and all the rest of it to wear down the props to get those in. And then we were in with oil. So different ways of doing it. So this is neat oils just to give a little bit of post shading effect over the panels. So once it's gone down, you can sort of blend them in. And also, because we re-riveted and rescribed the entire kit, some of it's a little bit raised, which works perfectly for us, because then you can give it a very, very light dry brush right the way over, just to make all the rivets and all the parts stick out as well. So that's what we were doing on here. And as you can see, with that mottling work we did with the paintwork, and with the weathering with the paint, and then obviously the oils going onto it and the washes and all the rest of it, it really starts to bed it all down and looks very much the part. Then we're into streaking and stains and things like that. So again, using neat oils. Then we were using with a little bit of thinners in them, and obviously getting those to work as well. And we ended up with something looking just about that. All right, so it's looking very, very nice on that front, as you can see just in there. So anyway, members, if you want to go off and see that, that is part 14 of that particular build. And lo and behold, down in front of us we have, she is done. So as you can see, here she is. It's all completed. We've got all the wiring on now. We've got all these aerials and all the other bits and pieces onto this particular one now. And actually, it's a little bit tricky to try and show on the overhead cameras and things. But I have to say, I'm really, really happy with it. It's one of those kits that's been a complete labour of love to go through and do it. But nothing's unbuildable. All too often in this hobby, you've got the naysayers and the naggers out there and all the rest of it who are literally just complaining and nagging about the kit is unbuildable and it's got this issue. Trust me, build one of these. Then you can complain. Until you've done something like this, you have nothing to worry about. Everything is straightforward. Everything is buildable. But there's something deeply satisfying about building this particular kit. Do I think it's a good kit? No. Do I think it's affordable? No, it's ridiculous. The price of this kit is absolutely horrendous for what you've got. But it's one of those ones, if you want to challenge yourself, and hopefully come out with something looking not too bad at all. You know, I've said before in all the other shows, go back and see them. This is not perfect. If you're a rivet counter, you'll be throwing up seeing this thing, because I've taken shortcuts and liberties with this kit everywhere just to make it an enjoyable build instead of a chore. And obviously it was built within 2 months, and that includes a 3-week break and me being on holiday for a week as well. So actually, I think in the timeline that we gave ourselves with it, it wasn't too bad. It was okay. But like with all kits, it doesn't matter if it's the latest AAA title or it's a vintage old kit or something like this, which is, somewhere in the middle. It's one of those ones. Enjoy it. You know, we spoke about on the show last night about the cost of this kit running into hundreds of pounds if you wanted to buy it, you know, but it's probably got 100 hours into this. So from a, if you're thinking of like, pounds per hour spent on it, that's actually not too bad. It's cost, it's £2 an hour to work on it and do your bits and pieces. So in some ways, there's not many things you can do that only cost £2 an hour. All right. So working on something like this, I think it's actually not too bad. All right. And again, it's one of those ones, we're going to be finishing off this one on the final part on Monday. At the moment, I think I'm up to about 25 minutes edited. There's still the after bits to go with this as well. And in the final part, we'll be talking about really bringing it all together. So fitting on the aerials, all the little bits. We've got the de-icer jets on the front went on, fitting the guns. We've got all the aerials in place now and all the rest of it. We talk about obviously putting the bomb load onto it as well, because obviously all the bomb loads onto it and everything like that. So yeah, that's going to be in the final part. That will be up with you Monday. And again, it's really nice because it is done. It's not one of those which I wish wasn't done, because I'm glad I've done it and we can move away from it. Apologies, just turn that off. But at the end of the day, it's one of those builds where I have thoroughly enjoyed it right the way through. And that's obviously the nice thing when you're working on a kit like this, that you're really getting something out of it. And obviously the feedback I've had from you guys, members and non-members alike, thank you to everybody who sent me references, tips and tricks on this one, because you've built it before and all the rest of it. Because without you guys, it probably would have been a lot worse a build than it was. All right. So massive thank you to everybody who's helped out with this particular build. So next week I've got Matt coming down. He's been spending a couple of days down here, so he'll be on the Tuesday and Wednesday vlogs as well with us to make our way through. So next week's a little bit disjointed and all there, because me and Matt are doing some bits and pieces. But then after that, we will be cracking on with the next couple of builds, which will be the Space 1999 Eagle lander as well. So looking very much forward to that one. Something a little bit different and a bit sci-fi, and something a little bit, not a helicopter, it's not a plane, it's an Osprey. So we're going to be starting on this one, and Matt's bringing me down some aftermarket bits, some goodies for this one as well. So that's the two next big builds up, with these two out of the way as we make our way through. As always, you can pop over to the actual Flory Models store. We've got various bits and pieces down here. Obviously, we've got your thick washes, we've got your original washes down in there, we've got your pigments, we've got your merchandise, and we've got some of the mugs. We've got the last of the actual Kareem mugs as well, so if you fancy any of those, you can get them. And we've got the snips down in here. Also, the tweezers. By the time you see this, the tweezers will be on the actual normal area as well, because I think all the members have had their little grubby mitts all over them. So what's left will go out to everybody else as well. So you can get those there. Over on the PM side, obviously various restocks come in this week. The AK ones, we've got a load more real colours restocks. These have all come through as well. And a few other things as well on there. There's no specials at the moment because obviously with the move and sorting things out, we had a lot of specials before. But as I say, if you want to get all your glues, your sundries, your paints, and we've got your kits down in there as well, don't forget, pop over to pmmodelsuk.com and they can sort you out as always down in there. And that is about it for this week. So hang around obviously on Monday. Final part of this one will go up there as well, and obviously the final reveal videos, and I'm going to do all of that work over the weekend as we make our way through. Anyway, that's it from me this week. Happy modelling, take care. As always on a Friday, I'm going to leave you with your great work from the gallery. So until next week, everybody, happy modelling.
I was not ready to falling like I'm wasted.